Hey, what's up fellow anglers? Aaron LeSieur here, and I'm out on the California Delta today, and I've got myself in my hand right here the brand new Teckel Sprinker frog. Let me show you this. I'm gonna do a review on this today. It's gonna be a good bait to throw into my arsenal because you guys know, if you've watched some of the other videos on my channel, I'm a huge fan of the river to sea whopper plopper in the 90, the 110, and the 130. And this is gonna fill a hole because out here, there's a ton of grass and grass mats and holes that I want to fish frogs through. And I want something that moves a little bit faster or pushes a little more water. And you can't throw a whopper plopper through there because obviously it's got these humongous treble hooks that get hooked up on every little piece of grass. And once you get a piece of grass on this thing, your cast is over. So I'm hoping this new frog fills a void to where I can still get that same action with the tail, the propeller tail style, and being able to throw it across the mats, so I can try to get some of these fish that are in these holes or around the edges, or throw it in water that's a little bit thin or skinny where I can't normally throw a whopper plopper. So we're gonna go through, try to catch some fish. I'm gonna talk to you about the action, if there's anything I don't like about the bait, or if there's just everything I love about the bait so far. I've thrown it for about 5 minutes and I like it. We're also gonna do a quick review. I have a couple more. We'll unbox them. I'll show you what comes in the box, what the frog looks like up close, so you can get a better idea and a better view of it. But right now, I'm out here on the water, so let's catch some fish. Okay, first impressions on the bait. It's got good action. And I'm rolling it through some of these weed mats. And the only thing that seems to kind of be sticking to it is some of this gorilla hair cheese stuff. That kind of gets stuck in the tail. Obviously it's gonna get stuck in the hooks, but that's any frog. But it's gonna get stuck in that little tail right there. It's grabbing a little bit, but not that much so far. So I'm still able, and it doesn't ruin the cast. A little bit gets on there and still got the action. It's flipping the tail around and you can still pull it through the mat. So even though you got a little bit of cheese on there, it's still not ruining the casts. And I expect some fish to even eat this thing when I've got some cheese on there, because the action is still so good, even though you've got a little bit of grass on it. So far what I really like about this sprinkler frog is the way you can vary your retrieves. This bait so far, it's a frog, but you get a little more action out of it. And even though I haven't gotten a bite on it just yet, I'm really liking the versatility on this bait and the areas that I can throw it in. So far, it's been an awesome frog as far as action. It does have a hollow body, so it does get a little bit of water in it. It hasn't really gotten that much in it. I had a couple fish blow up and take it down, and I had to squeeze it, but so far, it hasn't taken on a whole bunch of water. Okay, now you've got a little bit of an idea of how that frog works in action. Now I did end up catching one good fish on that, and unfortunately I pulled a rookie maneuver. I had neither the GoPro or the Sony running, but I did take a picture of it, and it was like a 3.5, maybe pushing 4 pounder. I didn't weigh it. I had a bunch of other blow-ups on it. I had another one hooked up. There we go. Oh, dang it. That's really the only action I had on that frog. The bite was pretty tough out there on the Delta where I was fishing it. Let me go over and reiterate real quick what I like about the frog. Great action on the water, good versatility on the retrieve. I threw it everywhere. I threw it on the mats. I threw it in open water. I got some footage. I was throwing it in the tulies. This thing barely even hooked into the tulies. I really like that. It's places I can't throw the whopper plopper. So far it seems durable. I'm gonna do a review later on when I've had a chance to really use it, catch more fish on it, see how it holds up durability wise, the body, the tail, etc. Just to kind of give a long-term review on it, hook up, see if I'm losing more fish than I'm hooking more fish, all of that good stuff. That's gonna come a little bit later when I've had a chance to really get into the frog and use it a lot more. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to go over some of the particulars of the frog, and then I'll wrap it up. I'm going to go over a couple of the things that I don't like or that they can probably improve on the frog. Just my first impressions of it so far by using it. I threw it for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours yesterday. So I've got a little bit of time in with the frog, so I know some of the nuances with it. And so I've got some cons on the bait so far. So let's go to the review here. I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to show you what comes in the box and what it looks like up close. Okay, let me show you here the frog up close in the box. We'll take it out in a second. Right there, comes with Gamakatsu hooks. A couple things to note here on the back regarding bass, and then it tells you what color you have right there. Inside, you're going to get the frog itself, and you're going to get an extra tail, which is nice. Then the tail, if you do rip one, it just screws on here on the back. It's got a little screw lock. And then the tail basically is just on with the barrel swivel here on the end. You've got your double frog hooks there, and then it's got the hole on the bottom where to squeeze the water out, and you've got the little weight here on the very back so that frog stays up in the water column. And you got your line tie right here. Basically, that's it in a nutshell. There's your frog. It's got whatever color you decide to get. They have multiple colors available. I'll show you some of the colors that you can get. This one is just a bone. It does kind of have a pattern on the top there a little bit, you can see, but that really doesn't matter because all the fish is going to see is this bottom side. So that's it. Let's go to the wrap up. Okay, so now that you've got to see the frog up close, some of the nuances of the bait, what you get in the box, etc., let me just quickly go over a couple of the things that I think can be improved upon on the bait itself. The first thing is that it's completely hollow body and it takes on water. The technology is out there to make these frogs so where they don't take on any water at all. There's other manufacturers already out there making another tube within the body itself that the hooks, the two shanks go through. So they never get any water in them, and so you're not squeezing water out, or if a fish pulls it down mid-cast, submerges it, this one stays submerged. The other ones will float back up, and maybe that fish will come back again and hit that bait. When a fish pulled this down and it got submerged and it took on any water, I couldn't get the bait to come back up again and start working it fast again to see if I could get that fish to come back and strike at it again. So I think future versions come up with a way to make this thing completely waterproof, so it's not taking on any water and not having to squeeze it, every so many casts. Now, I did get a lot of casts out of it before it took on some water. It wasn't until maybe a fish took it down or it got a little choppy or I somehow submerged it in the water on my own that it took on some water and I had to squeeze it out. But just making it completely waterproof, no water getting in there, that would be a huge improvement on it. The other thing was the way this nose sits down, the design on this frog. See how that nose kind of goes, it's angled in a downward, or the downward angle. The other problem I found was when the water got a little choppy, or even when I was really trying to rip it, sometimes the frog had a tendency to want to dive a little bit. And so I wasn't getting all the action that I really wanted. So I found myself having to actually kind of lift the frog up and rip it to make sure that nose would get up out of the water, instead of, because if you use your rod tip and ripped it down, it made it want to kind of sink down a little bit. So I almost think that would be better to have this portion of the front of the bait kind of right up, or have it come right up off this bottom where the chin would be right here on the frog, the underside, and make it so when you ripped it, it wants to stay up in the water instead of kind of dive down. So those really are my only two complaints on it so far. The one big fish I hooked and the other one that I had hooked up, the bait didn't rip. It is starting to show a little bit of wear. I'll show you here on the body. But the tail's been durable. It's a really stretchy material that's on this tail. Really stretchy. I see this thing lasting a long time. So I'll see if you can't, it may or may not show up in the camera, but I do have a little bit of wear where the hooks are wearing on either side of the body right there, but no holes in it yet. After using it for about 4 or 5 hours out there and having that one big fish on, and then multiple blow-ups, and then another fish on and come off. So Other than that, I don't have enough experience with it to see any more flaws in the bait. Everything else I really do like, and it is going to fill a void where my Whopper Plopper can't go. This is going to be a Whopper Plopper Junior with 4-wheel drive on it. So that's it for the review. Stay tuned for a couple months down the road when I've had a chance to really get in there and use it some more. So once again, if you like the videos, hit the like button, subscribe if you already don't. If you want notifications when more videos come out, hit the little bell, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Aaron LeSieur. Stay focused, fish hard, and I'll see you out on the water.